Today, we're going to show y'all how to skin out a doe on the tailgate. We're not going to need a tree. We're not going to need a winch. We're not going to need a rope. We're just going to need a knife, this deer, a tailgate, and a cooler. So it's the middle of November. The rut is on hot and heavy. People are killing deer like crazy. You kill the deer and you call the cooler, and they say that they're full, or they can't take a deer they can't take a whole deer, but they can take one in the ice chest. Or it's very worse, like there's nowhere to take a deer and you just have to do something with it for a couple of days. So we're gonna take this deer literally with nothing except what we have here in a knife, and take care of it where it will last for a day or two, or you can get it to a cooler within a reasonable amount of time. We're not even gonna gut the deer. We're gonna skin her, take the shoulders off, hindquarters off, backstraps out, the inner loins, and never have to gut it, and you'll just be left with a nice carcass, and take care of that on your own, and it'll actually save you a little money when we're said and done. So we got the deer spun around, and I got it where y'all can see where I'm gonna make my cuts. We're gonna make one pretty much continuous cut from her front leg down her belly and up under her inside of her leg here, and we're just gonna go and get started. So we'll start up here on the front leg where the white hair and the brown hair come together. That's usually a pretty good, gives you a little line there to start with. I usually just run right up there under her armpit over to her brisket and right straight down her belly. Till I get back here, and then we're going to pretty much do the same thing. We'll follow this this hair pattern of white and the brown, cheat a little bit and come to the inside. My whole goal here is to keep as much hair as I can off of my meat. I know if y'all even just gutting a deer, you know how much hair gets on things, and it's extremely hard to get off. So y'all see what we got. We got one pretty much continuous cut. So we'll start right here, and we're gonna lay this skin off almost like a blanket. And when we get done, we'll just lay it over, and we'll have all our shoulder exposed and our ham exposed and some back straps. And we'll roll her around a time or two till we get things like we want. And for future reference, I'm not sure how many deer I've skinned like this, but it's a bunch. And so if you run into some trouble, it's not always easy. But if you just keep your knife right there between that skin and that meat, especially on a nice warm deer, man, that thing it just peels right off and keeps it clean. A warm deer is way easier to clean than a deer that's been hanging in the cooler. So, if you get to this point here, I'm gonna go ahead and do this other leg too while I'm at it, so I can open things. The key to skinning anything is if you got something binding somewhere, it's gonna keep you from doing what you need to do. So always keep everything loose. So that means making a new cut somewhere. That's what you do. So, just about get this shoulder. If you want, bring that around here so it show this backside right here. We're gonna go right up this old entrance wound. Get his hand. Go ahead and get it going. So we're gonna go all the way to the top of her spine. Then we're gonna go through a couple little processes to get the meat off. So get this ham done, and we'll start taking meat off. Sometimes you need somebody to hold the leg. Sometimes you can throw it up on your shoulder. We're not gonna be hanging this deer up by anything, so we're not worried about cleaning all the hair and skin off of where you normally would below the hock there, where you're gonna hang one up. We're not even worried about that. So when we get done, we're gonna de-joint this, and we're gonna be left with nothing but just a nice pretty ham. It's going to take up minimal room. Almost there. So once we get this side done, it's just literally a mirror image of what we're going to do on the other side. So we're just about to a point where we're going to start taking some meat off and putting it in the ice chest. Just make sure you got up the neck a little bit. All right, we're going to start up. So, I'm sure most of y'all know a deer's front shoulder, there's no joint. It's not attached to by a bone or anything. It's just pretty much attached by meat. So that's pretty simple. That comes off pretty easy. So we're gonna get this all ice chest here. So we got this foot. We're gonna take care of that problem too, y'all. She does have an elbow. So you can take your knife and you cut right in this joint. It might take you a minute to figure out the right spot there, but you can cut it. And when I said earlier, all we're gonna need is a knife and an ice chest and a deer. No saw, no nothing. Then we'll start working on the ham. So we got the shoulder off. Now we're gonna get the ham off. So the ham is a little more in depth where you cut it, because there is actually a joint there in the hip. So you're just gonna start making a cut right straight down to that hip bone's right there. Y'all can hear it. And you continue right on around to her tail. So you got that open, just keep cutting. So there's a ball joint in here. And we'll get the camera a little closer where we can see it, but it's right, you just cut in here and you can feel it. There we go, right there. So there's the ball joint, and it's connected with like a little ligament right in the middle of that joint. So you cut that off, stay next to the bone, continue right around, and we fix it. This whole ham's sitting to come right off here. So y'all just watch where I'm cutting. So if you get mixed up, we got one more ham to do. So we'll just do the whole thing over again. The hip bone, it comes out and goes up, so you got to cut around it a little bit. But you'll, like I say, you just stay next to that bone, you'll figure out where you need to cut. Y'all can get right there where they can see that. And then you just cut right on down. And there we go. We got a boned out ham. Same process as the shoulder, so we don't need a saw. We got this big old long leg sticking out here, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut right here. And then the knee joint right there, we're gonna cut straight in. Then it just broke loose. Cut that ligament, and then we're gonna turn it sideways. And and if you're worried about this little bit of meat right here, this time you can take your knife and just run up beside that bone. And there we go. Everybody worries about this and that. There might be a little meat there, but it's full of tendons and ligaments and probably not the best cut of meat. So we got the shoulder and the ham off. Now we'll spin her around and we'll get a backstrap. And if y'all notice, this old skin, see, we're using it like a blanket. It keeps the meat off the tailgate, keeps everything protected. So we passed her backbone, so you can, sometimes you take your finger and pull that out, but just cut right down beside her backbone, all the way down up into her neck. Here's our hip bone. Come just in front of the hip bone and cut that off. And then that's a whole backstrap right there. Man, it's pretty meat. Pretty. So you cut right straight down until you hit a rib cage. So So we already cut along the backbone. So when you start hitting the rib here, cut straight down that rib, and eventually you'll come out to her backbone where you cut. The more you do this, you learn a little bit about anatomy and stuff too. It's really helpful when you go to de-jointing things, learn how it's all put together. Another benefit of this too, people shoot a bow a lot or archery hunt, man, you get a really good idea of where your dead zone is and where you're gonna be hitting a vital shot. But anyway, there we go. We got a nice, pretty backstrap right there on that side, and we're gonna come in here in a minute. We're gonna go ahead and get the other side done, and then we're gonna cut right in here, and your inner loins right in here. We're gonna get that without even gutting her. So now we're gonna take this skin, fold it right back over, and we're just gonna do exactly what we did to that side to this side. So I already cut this leg a while ago. Now we're gonna open that up a little more. Exact same process. We just wring this off. So I mentioned getting hair on your meat a while ago. I'm not perfect, nobody is, and so you're going to get some hair on there. The cool thing is you got all this in this cooler. You can take your water hose, rinse it all down before you ice it down, and it'll be pretty clean. Which is the key, in my opinion, to having good quality meat. I hear people all the time, oh my deer, somebody let me try a deer and it was awful. It tasted gamey and this and that. I promise you, if you kill a deer and you take care of it within an hour and get it in a cooler and skin out and on ice, you won't have to worry about a gamey taste. It's just gonna be good, like it's supposed to be. People say, oh, it ain't like a cow. Well, think about this. If a cow was roaming around in the woods and somebody walked out there and shot him in the shoulder or the ham, and he run off and here and there, and 4 hours later you drag him up with your four-wheeler and put him on the back of the truck and run him all over town, and 6 hours later you end up at the cooler, you're gonna have a mess. That's what you're gonna have. So, like I said about the cow, it's the same thing. You take a deer, it runs off, shot wrong, find it 6 hours later, drag it all over creation, and then you try to do something with the meat, it's just not going to be very good. So, literally, this is the key to having good quality meat, is taken care of from the get-go. All right, we are just about ready to do the same thing. So for time's sake, I'm not gonna go crazy and go all the way up her neck. If you feel so inclined and you got plenty of time, you can split her on up and get all that neck meat off a doe. There is some meat there, not a lot. If it was a buck, there would probably be a lot more. At least hamburger meat or a roast or two there. But for time's sake today, we're gonna stop right here. We're gonna go ahead and take this shoulder off. Like I said, well, I got the shoulder's not attached by a bone or a ligament. It's just there. So we got that off. Same problem. We'll do this a little closer if y'all want to bring the camera right here a little closer. So we're gonna cut. There's a bone there. We're gonna cut just above that bone, and it's gonna fall off, and then you can see where it's bending right there. So you take your knife and you can just, I try not to cut into the bone a lot, but you'll figure it out where the joint is, the side of it. We'll try the other side. Sometimes it works real good, sometimes it don't. There it is. So you see it break right there, then you're gonna cut it and just follow that bone on around. And there's that. That takes up a lot less room than that whole leg. even if you were to cut this off down here, you're still taking up a lot of room. And like I was saying a while ago, that's a little bit of waste there, but that is full of tendons and ligaments, and it might just be just a little bit of ground. So now we're gonna jump back here on this hand. The problem now we're getting to is we took so much weight off here, she's moving around a lot. So might be the point where if you're by yourself, you get somebody to help you hold some things, but we're gonna try this one more time right in here. If you want to get real close right here, let's just show them this joint. So we're gonna cut right there beside the gut. Just keep cutting. And if you cut it right, you're just gonna bleed a little bit. Cut that off. Keep cutting, stay next to that bone. And then we're looking for this ball socket right there. And then, like I said, there's a ligament in there. We're just gonna cut that, pop this loose, come down, stay next to the bone. Stay next to the bone, all the way next to the hip bone. And there we go. Well, almost. Cut right back here. Now, we're done. And we'll do this up close one more time. Let's get that little hair out of the way. So, we're gonna come right in here, cut that off. Here's our joint right here. You're gonna cut straight into there. Actually, the old ham is a lot easier to do than the front shoulder. It's just the way it's designed. If you're worried about that little bit of meat, you can just save it right there. If y'all look in there, what I'm saying is all that gristle and tendons and stuff. But so we just pretty much bone that out. You see how much room it's taking up. It's pretty compact. So we'll spin her right here one more time. Same thing, we'll clean this up a little bit. Find her backbone, cut straight in. Cut out the neck a little bit, it runs all the way up. And then right in front of the hip bone again. Go down till you hit some ribs. Old rib cage. Get the rib cage to the backbone. And this thing's just gonna peel right out of here. You gotta cut it a little bit, but sometimes you can almost just pull them out. Try not to pull a whole lot. Like I said, she's getting pretty light now since we took all this meat off of her. Lay it on all the way right there. Whole big old pretty backstrap. And now, real quick, we'll reach right in here. I said we weren't going to have the gutter, and we're not. So we're just going to open this up, and if you'll get that camera, look right in here. There's an inner loin right there, tenderloin, whatever you want to call it, and you can go in there with your hand. You got to cut one. It's attached back here toward the hip bone. You can literally reach right in there and pull that out with your hand. And y'all all know what this is. It's just like filet mignon on a cow. Whoop. I told the story, we're gonna cut a little bit. Be careful when you put your knife in there, because it is literally right next. So we got this loin out. We're gonna roll her over. Like I said, we're gonna use that skin like an old blanket. Roll her right back over. We'll try to show this a little better. So we'll cut just a little bit right there. So that inner loin lays right up next to the top of these riblets. I'm gonna open this on up. Open this a little more. Like I said, it's attached up toward her hip. So if we cut it loose from the inside, again, be careful, because this is gut right here. We want to stay away from that. And you can cut right in there. Grab it with your hand and just ease it out. Almost there. Man. Almost. Almost. Yeah. There it is. Pretty little tenderloin, inner loin. Man, you can see how that grain of that meat is just the way it's made. That's why it's so tender. So there we have it. We went from a whole deer to getting off everything that we need. We got hams, we got shoulders, we got back straps, inner loins. We didn't even have to gutter. A little bit bloody, not too bad. So next time you kill one and the cooler's closed, 30 minutes on your tailgate and an ice chest and a knife, you'll be ready to go.